What's up, family? Man, I want to have a real heart to heart with you guys today. Man, what happens when God says no? You know, what happens when God says no? What do you do when God tells you no? When you see that young lady, you see that guy that you want to hook up with, but God is telling you no, and you decide to do it anyways. What happens when God tells you don't do that? Don't do this right here, and you do it anyways. When you want to go somewhere and God is telling you, put it on your heart, man, don't do that. Don't go, don't go, don't go, don't go. But you've grown. You can do what you want to do. You can hang out with whoever you want to hang out with, and you decide to do it anyways. What happens when you want to do something, you want to react, you want to snap on somebody, and God is telling you, don't do that, don't do that, don't, no, 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 no. You're going to mess up, don't do that. And you decide, man, I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. I'm going to dog them out. I'm going to fuck them up. And the whole time God is telling you, don't do that. But because you've grown, you think you do what you want to do, and you decide to do it anyways. What happens when God tells you no? And that's not the answer you want to hear. And so you sugarcoat it. You say, God didn't mean that. And you twist it up, however you twist it up, to justify whatever it is you want to do. What happens when God tells you no? Can you even hear God when he tells you no? How do you know the voice of God? See, so many of us, when we hear no and we know it's God, but we don't want to believe that it's God, we'll say it's the devil. We'll say it's anything but God. That's not God telling me that. That's the enemy not wanting me to have fun. That's the enemy not wanting me to go left on this motherfucker right here for disrespecting me and for dogging me out. That's the enemy not wanting me to give my boss a piece of my mind, because her raggedy ass expects me to show up to work on time and take my breaks when I'm supposed to, and the amount of time for my 15-minute breaks that I'm supposed to, and then leave on time. I don't know who the fuck she thinks she is. And so we want to tell her some things, because they ain't telling you what you want to hear. They ain't letting you do what you want to do. They want to hold you accountable. And many of us don't like that. We live in a time, in a generation, where you're the bad guy if you want to hold somebody accountable. You're the enemy if you want to make somebody act like a grown-ass motherfucker they say they is. You're the enemy. I'm your enemy because I don't accept your bullshit. I'm your enemy because I have standards and expectations. And I'm not going to let you just talk to me any kind of way or come to me any kind of way. I'm your enemy because I'm not going to let you do what the fuck you want to do with me. But then we get mad because God has standards. Then we get pissed because God has expectations. It's okay for us to have them when it comes to other motherfuckers. But who the fuck is God to tell me no? You know what I mean? Who the fuck is God to tell me that I can't go do whoop, do whoop, do whoop? Or I see that ass right there and it's like, damn, she bad as fuck. I want to wear that shit. But God is telling me no. It's okay for us to have standards, for us to have expectations. But God is supposed to give me what the fuck I want, when I want it, how I want it, where I want it. We've made God out to be this genie that I could just rub the lamp and give my commands to. God, your job is to do what I want you to do, how I want you to do it, where I want you to do it, and when I want you to do it. Don't ask no questions. Just do as you're told. That's the expectation that we have of God. And when God don't kiss our ass, we got a motherfucking problem. You know what I mean? When God don't bow down to us, we got a problem. What happens when God tells you no? What happens when life demands something from you that you don't want to give? What happens when life expects you to grow the fuck up and deal with your issues? What happens when life challenges you to get out of your fucking comfort zone? What happens? What happens when life tells you, man, you're gonna have to learn how to control your motherfucking mouth, because you fucking reckless. You say some toxic ass bullshit. You real reckless with your fucking mouth. What happens when life tells you your fucking attitude sucks? What happens when life tells you that you're fucking selfish and you're a spoiled ass fucking brat? And you have this entitlement mentality. What happens? What happens when life stops kissing your ass? When God stops looking out for you and stops providing for you? What happens? We got to grow up. And it's a trip because, man, in this day and age, everybody swear to God they fucking grown. Everybody grown today. You got 9, 10-year-old kids swear to God they fucking grown. They can dress how the fuck they want to, say what they want to. And you better not say nothing to them about it. Everybody's grown, but everybody ain't grown. Everybody's grown, but everybody ain't fucking mature. Everybody ain't mentally fucking stable. Everybody ain't grown spiritually, but they grown. How the fuck are you grown? Because you 18 plus? That makes you grown? Because you do what the fuck you want to do? That's not what makes you grown. What makes you grown is when you have the wisdom and the insight to understand, man, I better get my ass in alignment with God, source, the most high, universal consciousness, infinite wisdom, infinite knowledge and love, whatever you want to call it. That's grown. When you're able to tap into that and be connected to that and be like, oh, I want to do this, but that's not in my best interest, so I'm not going to do it. I want to take this money and splurge and buy this wig and buy this bag and buy this, and all this stupid, superficial shit. But because I'm tapped into God, God is telling me, no, save it, invest it. There's a hard time coming. There's a drought coming. Save that right there. You're going to need that later. Put that aside. Being grown is understanding, dang, I'm responsible for my actions. I'm responsible for the things I say. I'm responsible for how I feel and what I think. I'm responsible for that. I got to be responsible for those that are watching me and following in my footsteps, whether I know they are or not. I have to be responsible. Am I living my life the way that I'm supposed to, so that those who are falling behind me can grow and reach their full potential? Or am I leading them down a path of destruction? Or am I leading them down into some chaos and some hell? Because they want to pop collars and pop bottles and chase ass and all this other stupid ass shit they see me doing. What happens when life demands that we grow up? What happens for the great majority of us is that we have to crash and burn because we don't want to change. We don't want to change. And so we look around at other people that we think are worse off than us. And that justifies us staying right where we're at. Oh, because I'm not all that bad and nobody's perfect and all this other bullshit. And at least I'm not like Tanya. At least I'm not like Mary. And at least I'm not like Sonia. And at least I'm not like Mike. And at least I'm not like Pookie and that crackhead Jamie over there. And all this other bullshit we come up with to justify our stagnation. But what happens when God comes knocking? What happens when the universe knocks on your door and says it's time for you to enlist in your growth and development? It's time for you to grow the fuck up. What happens? What are you gonna do? What are you doing? What are you doing? We have to grow up. We have to stop playing games. We have to stop wasting time. We have to stop thinking we're so damn smart. We're so damn woke. We got everything figured out except how to be happy. We have everything figured out except how to have peace of mind and joy. You have nothing figured out. Nothing except how to live a miserable life. How to be frustrated. Man, we got to grow up. We have to grow up. I love you guys. The God in me sees, recognizes, acknowledges, and cherishes the God in you.